guys, it's MJ. How are you? What's happening? So, second live share today. I want to talk about Abraham Hicks. And if you don't know who Abraham Hicks is, you gotta check it out, yo. You gotta check it out. Esther Hicks channels the non-physical entity of an Abraham, which basically has been largely, I would say, responsible for the expansion of law of attraction teachings, which is part of the mass awakening, which is part of, the ascension or global ascension, or just basically human beings learning how to be better feeling and more loving. And the reason I want to touch in with Abraham is because what I realized with this paradigm shift is we want to be coming at this stuff from every angle we can, so that we're embodying it as much as we can, so that we're practicing it. It's almost like as diligent as we can, but without the pressure. That's the weird flip with all this stuff, is we always want to be staying in a place of ease and flow ultimately. But again, that's our own individual responsibility, right? And so, just so you guys are aware, Abraham Hicks talks about vibration. This is a vibrational reality. And we as beings, and we as conscious creators or divine creators, have a vibrational vortex. So we have, and in this vibrational reality, there is contrast. And it's through contrast that we really truly expand. Or you could also use the word transform. So by being full ownership creator, you can observe the contrast of your reality, which is duality, which is just the nature of being in form, and to yoke the good stuff, choose to yoke the good feelings, choose to be in the flow, choose to believe in yourself, choose to believe in your dreams, choose to follow your bliss, right? And the reason I wanted to talk about vibration is because I want you guys to be aware of the fact that when I talk about emotion, it's the same thing. This is what I think a lot of people start to stumble into, and then are like, I don't want to have to own my emotion. I just want to be high vibing, or I just want to think positive and have everything miraculously change. And that can work for certain things, but there's other things that will keep showing up and keep triggering us on an emotional level. But if we're too scared to look, or if we deny it, or if we pretend like it doesn't exist, or just kind of denial and brushing things under the rug or whatever, those vibrations are still active until we can look at them. And that has a lot to do with non-resistance. So here's the legit truth. It's me coming into my alignment and flow is about the fact that I've worked through enough emotional resistance that I'm not afraid of negative emotions. I'm just aware that there are contrasts that I could see, oh yeah, I used to think like that, and that doesn't feel as good as this. I want to be open to this. And then you go along here, and then this other stuff comes up, and you're like, wait a minute, I don't want to feel like that. So and people sometimes I use the word emotions, emotional storms, we have emotional triggers, and we can use lots of different words, but ultimately the vibrational world that we see is a reflection of our emotional patterns. Everything, our thought patterns and our behavioral patterns ultimately come within our own connection to our core essence, which is the energy that we are, which is the emotions that we carry. And I mean, the laws of the universe don't really carry judgment. It's only our own limiting beliefs based on very dense emotions, very dense energies that we're here to transform. That's the idea of light workers. Although I really, again, you guys, I talk about this a lot, but I don't like labels, because labels can potentially limit us, because they do a compartmentalization in our mind, which fixes a reality in place. And anything that kind of fixes a reality in place, again, can potentially limit us, because in truth, reality is never fixed. It's never completely static. It's always vibrating. It's always flowing. So as beings, what we're practicing doing is coming more into our centered space so that we can be the eye of the reality, the creator of it. So we're watching reality in connection to our vibrational resonance, and choosing which resonances or which frequencies to hook into, to focus on, right? And that is ultimately what creates those perpetual patterns. Now, a part of this expansion is the fact that we do really, sometimes we do really need to open our mind to embrace broader thought or more expansive thought. Because for me personally, it was really when I started to expand my conscious awareness beyond like this one life and beyond just this earthly existence, that once I could expand my mind's awareness to life beyond earth, eternal life, to like a sense of that, multidimensionality, but also past life. Some people also refer to future life, but personally I just think of past life and then multidimensional realities. Once I expanded out there, suddenly loads of my unconscious toxic patterns or negative patterns started to make sense. Once they intellectually started to make sense, I could start to do the emotional healing work from a much clearer perspective. And it's from the clarity of that perspective that's allowed the continuing connection to the intuition and the continuing emotional healing, which from what I can gather at this point, it doesn't really end. You just keep seeing different aspects and then choosing to transform the lower ones. And it can be tough. It's tough work, right? Because it's diligent. And I really see it's easy for the mind to go back, especially if we're still processing. Like, having made a huge leap a few years ago, I'm still processing that choice to be like, I'm gonna be free, I'm gonna live my truth, I'm gonna be who I desire to be. That was 2 years ago. And emotionally, like all the heartache and stuff that I've recently processed, like, again, 3D mind would like blame the person and blame these situations. There was aspects of my learning that came out of how it unfolded, but energetically speaking, transforming the density of the heart was super duper important to gain greater clarity, to refine intuitive connectivity, and then ultimately up level, because that heartfelt transformation is an expansion of frequency, right? And again, I can just honestly say there's greater clarity, there's a lot more like love vibration generally for myself and for life and for all. And like, I think again, stepping into this platform, it's like that's part of the continuation, is like expressing truth and then rising above, and then expressing truth and rising above. Nice one, Eric. I was looking at your Instagram, buddy. Isn't social media fucking awesome? So yeah, this is like the whole big shift really, is that we have to stop denying our emotions. And it's part even of lifting the lid and calling out, like, just calling out shady stuff all over on a world scale, on socioeconomic, environmental scale, like business, corporation, companies, yada yada. Any shady shit is just being called out. And then in our own personal levels, we're calling out, we're in our own self having to transform density, which in essence is like calling out energies of deception, betrayal, manipulation, and all of that kind of stuff. So it's really great to find that clarity and have faith and trust in self, and to just basically be super excited about like what's gonna happen, how's everything gonna unfold. I'm super excited. I feel like a 5-year-old child. And it's interesting that I say I feel like a 5-year-old, because in my journey, it was like just around like 5 that it all started to be like, no love, life's scary, oh no, burden, fears, and then so like backtrack, you do your inner child healing and stuff, and then suddenly you're like, shh. And that's the idea of like rebirth, right? Is that suddenly you've like transformed enough density connected to the old programming, and like and then this whole world opens up, right? And that's part of the transmission for how we share our experience and our stories with one another, to keep inspiring one another to take the leap and be willing to be who you are, and be willing to just ride out every emotional storm without blaming and attacking and holding grudges and stuff, because that also, like, and I'm working through that, right? Like, I'm still working through, like, having, like, every once in a while my mind will still go back into, like, why did he, and this, like, why did he do that, and, like, why did that happen, and, like, and then I'm like, wait a minute, no, it's good, like, clear, imagine better things, and, like, because then when you really, really, really get down to the root of it, guys, come on. We do want the best for each other. We want one another to be happy. We want one another to, like, we want to all live in a peaceful, harmonious world, right? And sorry, but, like, if people don't, it's like, well, we probably wouldn't be best of friends anyway. So it's probably best if you live over there and we live over here, you know? But then this is where we really want to start talking about the hologram kind of aspect of our reality, and how we congregate, how we come together in community, how we share and relate, even on, I think social media, new media, is a huge physical, like, it's a huge symbol of our own bridge. Like, humanity's building a bridge to, like, the new world, and again, in the most positive way possible, it's like helping us to connect vibrationally and then anchor in higher vibes so that we start this transition. Again, the economy, everything's going to change, guys. I think that's what we just have to, why we have to keep meditating, or why we have to keep sharing and helping each other feel supported in these really profound emotional changes. Because, again, going through the journey, I've been getting intimacy the past few days. Awesome. Tell me more. Yeah, really grounding down so we can support one another through this process. And there again, it's just me feeling this call to kind of break down some of the walls around, like, the light love spiritual community, and being like, it is light and love in truth, in the broadest, biggest sense that you can possibly imagine. This reality is contained and projected by light and love. Oh, yes, celebration, right? High vibes, people coming in, deeper intimacy with self and other as well, because it's all connected, right? Yes. Oh, good. That's exciting. So yeah, being aware of our emotions, and not getting caught up in the illusion of, to manifest a high vibe life, I have to be high vibe all the time. That's a projection of, like, I guess, power over structure. And it's a way to subtly manipulate people to make them think that, like, to be like me, you have to, like, be super happy all the time, or, like, to buy my products and then da 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 da. It's like we want to cut out all the bullshit and just be really, like, integral and really real with who we are as individuals, so that we can suss out, like, that vibrational resonance with other people, so that we're connecting with the right kind of people to help expand the visions that we're creating, especially when a bunch of us are going to be holding similar frequency energies, right? A lot of us are going to be holding visions that align with one another, and I'm very much seeing that happening now in the new paradigm community, and resonating with people, like, you never even meet, right? People, like, that you meet from around the world, and it's, like, just instantaneous, like, we just know what one another are talking about. So yes, the internet is help bridging us, our increased sensitivity, and then increased kind of guidance with that sensitivity. And this is where I had a vlog about, like, next level, like, beyond spirituality, right? Nice one, guys. Beyond spirituality, because it's like next level. It's like we're dropping a whole bunch of programs and going next level, which is authenticity, integrity, resonance, vibration. Like, we're going into quantum manifestation, where that's beyond a construct of spirituality or a construct of economy and exchange, because we recognize how we're operating, and so we move to that place. Suddenly there's no need for money. Suddenly there's no need for pharmaceuticals in the way that you can see, right? As soon as the cracks start to come undone, it all it all unravels. That's why a lot of us are having to really stay focused on like, what are we gonna create, guys? What kind of world or do we want to see? And I don't know, is it cryptocurrency, or is it what is it? What is it? Where are we headed with all this stuff? But either way, again, don't be afraid of your dark emotions. Don't be afraid of your density. Don't be afraid of being angry, of being sad, of being depressed. Embrace your darkness. That is part of enlightening yourself. Is that within you, you have the strength and the will and the kind of like inner grit to look at like the scariest emotions you carry, to look at the most gut-wrenching, heart-wrenching, and trust, I've just been through one myself. So it's like we have such stamina inside of us to get through this clearing, to get through this massive upheaval and change. So just keep going, basically, and trust it and have faith in it. You can look at the darkness, clear it out, and be like, all right, darkness, density, and fucking shit, I'm done with you. I'm going to focus on my high vibes. Just remember it's cyclical. So if you're choosing a quantum leap and higher vibrational living, which is just harmonious freedom, love, like hippie vibes, but like high vibe, luxury, hippie vibes. And so we're going up in a spiral. And it's wave function. Wave function means, guys, that we have days that we're up and days when we're down. Our society is just just indoctrinating us to deny the down. It's like we try to resist going down, and so we're all trying to like race up, but we're burning out, and you can see it in the human condition. We're getting fat and stressed, and our hearts are giving out on us, and yes, this is what I've totally been getting. That's the alchemical process, right? So when you're sitting in your emotional storms and just holding light, like shining light, and being like, not blaming the other person, not sitting around and gossiping about how shit you feel and how bad your life is because so and so doesn't love you, like owning it and feeling it and letting, like, seriously, this is why I want some of our tribe members, some of us, to be able to me too, hidden observer, same, like in a one day it's just like acceleration, right? But yeah, so sitting in the storm, Eric, is totally like the pressurized diamond, or the coal, is that right? So like the alchemical process of transforming coal into a diamond is essentially what's happening to us when we can sit with the densities. And if you guys resonate with the stuff that I talk about, it's because you're a carrier, you could say. Like, part of your contract for physical existence is to transform some of this density, to help accelerate the human machinery, right? And I've had people melt away under pressure in my life, so I know firsthand, right? Right? And that's why it's so like, it's such a bittersweet thing of like that ebb and flow of having to release and love and let people go, and because you can't force people to want to do that. And the delicateness of all of this, and also the fact that of really not getting personal, because the more I feel like expanded outward, the more I'm having to see how like really the vibrational disparity. Hidden observer, right? We're going round, but we're accelerating because the human collective energy field is increasing. It's ramping up. All this inner work, all this Abraham teachings, this stuff has expanded us, and now we're moving. Now a whole bunch, a mass pocket of the human collective energy field is starting to feel the momentum of their own quantum manifestation and stepping into it. And so then that's going to enlighten another huge pocket of the mass, and they're going to start to swing. So their polarity consciousness is going to start to swing and uplift into the heart space, which is so fucking cool, right? So we're doing it and we're on it. And that was, I think, the whole depth of our darkness, the depth of our emotional pain is a real piece that we have to be able to talk about and acknowledge. Otherwise, exactly. Otherwise, people just stay, and we don't want our good friends and family getting trapped in those insidious games, right? So we just have to keep rising, keep stepping up. Time's up, right? The game's up. The game's up. We sussed it out. And in like, for real, I have like deep meditation sometimes where I like see the more light beings just like anchoring down, and like dark ships. That might be weird for you guys, but I do it. This is my meditation. I remember in the depth at one point, like actually seeing two. One time and one another time, these, like, I just knew they were like part of the dark energies who have been hanging out here for a while. They're like exiting, and hence part of this amp up, right? And why some of us are really having to dig deep and commit to our truth. Because it's on. Things are changing, and they're changing fast, but they're changing for the better. We just have to keep showing up for each other, right? And most importantly, just keep showing up for you. Just fucking keep loving yourself and believing in yourself, because I believe in you. I believe in humanity. We're gonna get through this, and we're gonna, you know, dissolve the shit that doesn't really work for us anymore, you know, and start to create models and systems that uphold a greater, or if not the totality of this earthly existence. I love you guys. Oh, this is a really fun share. See, sometimes I'm not sure why. I'm like, I really feel like sharing. In fairness, actually, I just did my hair, and so I was like, yeah, let's go live. Straight up. This is the vanity of material life, people. It's the vanity. But I appreciate you guys so much, and I'm really, really happy I went live. Oh. Check your past lives. It's interesting. This is a random story of my life here. Is both my parents are adopted. Love you too. Love ya, hidden observer. So both my parents are adopted. So I don't necessarily have a way to trace my my earthly heritage. You said something about Middle Eastern royalty or European royalty. There's definitely some Egypt. I sometimes get little flashback memories of like an Egyptian life or that time, and a few European witchy kind of lives. Definitely was torture. Cool. Anyway, guys, thank you for being you. Thank you for finding me and the internet. I just want to also give a shout out to Jenna Marbles, who's possibly a little bit of a new fave of mine on YouTube, because she just makes me laugh when she says, hell yeah. And it makes me so juiced up. Plus, she's in like a lovely relation. She's got 3 puppies, and I'm just like, yep, I'm getting my dogs soon. And yeah. Anyway, I love you guys loads. Thank you. Peace. Thank you so much, guys, for coming. I love you. Epic. Big time.